Welcome back everyone. So, as PTR has rolled on, loads of things have been added to 10.2, and my mission today is pretty simple, to get you up to speed with all of it so that you can see what progress WoW has made along the things that you're actually interested in. And seriously, from gearing to rewards to quality of life features, there's actually a bunch here, quite a lot to do. In a large departure from patch 10.1, Blizzard are actually updating old content to have relevant item level rewards in Season 3. Now this covers world quests, Dragonbane Keep, the Centaur Hunts, Farak Assaults, Researchers Under Fire, Time Rifts, and Dream Surges. Of course, 10.2's new event will drop the best stuff, but these older ones actually drop Season 3 Explorer and Adventurer gear, depending on if it is a repeatable source or not. And that just means the list of useful things to do in each character has got a whole bunch longer, and if you do enjoy maybe after the progress on your main, just doing random stuff in your alts to keep them kind of up to date, I think this will be a really nice change for you. A bit of Dragonriding then, it's getting even more powerful. So, Swift Skimming allows for both Thrill of the Skies and Ground Skimming to be active together, which will feel a lot better, as will Wind's Respite, that gives you a 4-second long 0G hover after you use Aerial Halt, and then Second Wind is basically 3 charges that you can use to generate 1 vigor each, with each charge having a 3-minute cooldown. Basically, it's a bit of backup fuel. Then you'll also get 2 new dragons. The Flourishing Whimsy Drake comes from the campaign, and the Grotto Nethering Drake comes from the Verinoth and Rathian quest that unlocks November 25th, and both of these have got a full complement of customizations. This is a small one, but it is nice. Aiding the Accord now gives you a choice between 2 primary objectives, so it's not a gigantic game-changing thing, but if you would prefer one objective over the other, this is absolutely appreciated. Next then, gearing, where we see Blizzard advance a lot of ideas that they've been testing out. I'll kick it off with the Great Vault. It's changing in a big way for casual players, where Time Walking, Mythic Zero, and Heroic Dungeons now count towards the Great Vault, so it's nice for getting a little bit more gear, or even just those backup tokens, which can be pretty nifty as well. Normally the way the gearing works between tiers is that a current season's Mythic Raid gear is equivalent at item level to the next season's normal mode gear. This time though, it's actually equivalent to LFR, and what that essentially means is that item levels are taking more of a leap upwards than usual for Season 3, and that essentially means that your Season 2 progress is a bit less impactful, but that obviously means that if you're a player who's coming back to the game after a break, the playing field will be a little bit more level. And that certainly is a curious move to me. I wonder if Blizzard perhaps feels that not as many people engaged and they want people to come back to a clean slate, or maybe they feel like the upgrades in Season 2 were actually so generous that average item levels were way higher than they normally would be without that system. Yeah, bit weird, but anyway, this is far from it with gearing. The big quality of life change to visibility and bag space is that crests are now moving to your currency tab, and this will free up so much bag space because crest fragments are also gone. Content actually now just drops crests directly, and those go into your currency tab. Now the quantities are the same as they were with fragments in the past. Really the TLDR here is it works exactly the same, but it takes up 0 bag space, a massive win. Next then, our weekly cap has decreased from 150 crests to 90, meaning you can do 6 upgrades per week per crest type. And I guess this is likely something they've slowed down because of player feedback from Season 2, and there are ways in which some people could like this. As an example, it now takes timing like 8 dungeons to cap, down from, like 13. So to some people that'll be really nice. There's another great change then, and that is that you can trade up crests based on hitting these item level requirements on screen. So if you hit those, then you can actually make use of all of the spare crests that your character earns. Now it takes 90 of a lower crest to create 15 of a higher level crest. Though of course note that this does count towards the cap. Obviously, Blizzard didn't want some sort of crazy loophole to encourage degenerate farming early on in the season. Now tied to that is our next change. If you are capped on a crest, doing content that would normally award that crest will instead award the next crest down, continuing until you've capped on everything, rather than the old way where the dungeon would just give you nothing. Okay, tier gear next. This comes in 2 parts. First, the Catalyst is now out on week 1 of the season rather than week 7, and this means that by the time you would have unlocked the Catalyst, you'll actually in this season have been able to make 3.5 pieces of tier gear, which is really nice, especially for those Mythic Plus players. Now in line with this, they've actually decreased the drop rate of tier tokens from raid bosses, and you can sort of see why. The Catalyst being up will mean the non-tier gear will actually be more valuable to players. But the tier tokens, because people will get their force set so quickly, the tier tokens will rapidly feel rather obsolete. So overall, the net change here is that everybody will get more reliable tier gear in this season. Also, Blizzard's past experiments of the Omni token from the final boss of the raid and the heroic tier token for completing the season mastery achievement, those will persist into season 3. Next, another loot change. Very rare gear now drops as a bonus drop on top of regular boss loot rather than replacing one of the bits of loot that the boss would have dropped. This basically just nudges up the raid's overall rate of reward. So that'll feel quite nice. Finally then, the PvE level of PvP gear can be upgraded with flight stones instead of honor. Okay, next let's do some UI and UX changes. Do you want dark mode for your quest panel? Well, now it's there as an accessibility option. Then, building on the revamped class resource assets of patch 10.07, Demon Hunter Fury, Astral Power, your Stagger bar, your Insanity bar, and your Maelstrom bar are all getting brand new art assets that look and move pretty damn great. Also, talent reallocation is way better. When you swap talents, you'll no longer have like entire branches just be deleted. Instead, those talents that would have been deleted will now be marked as red until they're reconnected. And it basically just means you can much more easily and clearly customize your talents, a really good piece of quality of life. Next, some smaller things. The micro menu can be made smaller, there is some UX reinforcement on the Great Vault, and in your reputation pane, major reps will be grouped to the top, and they're also doing another pass of Dragonriding keyboard controls. And finally, you can see applicant roles on LFG. And speaking of flying, well, old school flying is now available in the Dragon Isles with the Pathfinder achievement, meaning you can slowly fly anywhere that you want, and also you can hover in mid-air. Of course, Dragonriding renders this a bit moot in terms of like raw travel speed, but if you just want to hit the auto run button and leave your computer while your character goes in a direction, or perhaps if you just want to hover in the air above a spawn that you're waiting for, yeah, it'll be quite nice. Now, to unlock this, you need to hit renown level 15 with all major factions. You need to complete every zone campaign quest and explore every zone, which, being real, by this stage won't be particularly challenging. Alright, shipments then. These are a new thing for profession people to do. I suppose a bit similar to barter bricks, but this time it uses commonly used commodity materials rather than crafted items. Each profession can make shipments, and each week there will be quests. Amongst other things, these will get you dream seeds, and those dream seeds essentially can be planted in the Emerald Bounty event, which is one of the things that goes on in the Emerald Dream this patch. Okay, next, something rather huge. This will lead to a lot of people rolling alts, and that is massive Druid customizations. First up, Moonkins. You guys essentially get a revamp. You've got 12 different categories of customization options and an area for full transformation customizations to go as well. And there's also a glyph that's been added that will randomize your, basically randomize your Moonkin every time you shapeshift. So be it Fire, Sun, Moon, Tauren, Night Elf, you can basically like make the Moonkin that matches your character perfectly. I guess, yeah, you can actually match your Moonkin form with even your transmog. This is a really terrific change, and it's actually not all, because there are a bunch of new Druid forms. Okay, Guardians, you are getting the Rune Bear, Umbra Claw, and Bristlebrune. Each has got a few different color options. Feral are getting 3 colors of Dream Saber. Ground Travel is really doing well. We've got a Dream Stag, and then this, which is a Raptor Cat. That is essentially perfect. You can also turn into a South Sea Nadra, which basically is a big koi, so that's pretty cool. And we've got 4 new owl variants for your flying form as well. So yeah, a hell of a lot to unlock. Speaking of unlocks, hey, the Ember Court is now daily instead of weekly, so if the desire to return to the Shadowlands has been burning in your soul, yeah, you can now do that. Next, the feature that I'm actually the most excited about, and that is solo queue RBGs. These are major for WoW, and they're actually a great source of conquest too. There are many PvPers who love rated battlegrounds and just don't play anymore because finding a team is a miserable cycle. So being able to just log in, queue up, and get into games, that will be huge. I think this has got the potential not only to bring back loads of ex-PvPers, but also new blood, like myself. I mean, I love battlegrounds, and this, with rating, would pretty much be perfect for me. As Venruki said rather recently, like it or not, the future of mass PvP kind of lies in solo queue, right? And it appears that that's the truth of it, at least for how the sort of dynamics of modern player bases are engaging with gaming these days. Another nice thing too about solo queue is it does actually act as a nice learning environment for perhaps newer or lower skilled PvP players. And of course, because it's all working in rating, it should offer a better time in like onboarding to rated battleground content. Also, like, fast queue timers plus no barriers. What will that equal? More games played, more experience. Hopefully it will grow PvP. Now you get 100 conquest for your first win of the day, 50 for further wins, and 25 for close losses. There are 2 weekly quests, and it's now an 8v8 format that is designed to be a bit faster than normal, and to facilitate that, Blizzard have actually done quite a lot of work. They've added in some new power-ups, they've rebalanced a whole bunch of map mechanics to just make things a bit more snappy. And they have straight up said, yes, this is a dry run for proper ranked solo queue, rated battlegrounds at 11.0. I think that would be a terrific feature, and it would finally make developing new battlegrounds makes sense for Blizzard to do. That would be sick. Classes then. Demon Hunters and Rogues, basically you guys have had real good news. Matt's going to be diving into their final sort of launch versions next week, but as a TLDR, right? Demon Hunter and Rogue have had a lot of problems solved. And from what I can tell, just going around the internet, this has been a great improvement. Even small things like Fellblade now being a 0.5 second global cooldown, like that feels way better. The overarching theme then of this expansion of renewal for classes is really still alive. I mean, just about every patch has been stuffed with mostly great changes. We've had the Mage revamp, the Paladin reworked, well, now we've got the 2 of these which seem to actually be great. This is absolutely night and day from the Blizzard of Shadowlands. To bump away from classes, if you are the sort of player that likes installing all the things and then taking things off the list, well, good God, you are screwed for this patch. One of WoW's most beloved aesthetics, of course, is all the Night Elf, Emerald Dream stuff, and there's a tremendous amount of rewards. We've got these fantastic looking outdoor armor sets, the new tier sets, whole array of mounts, Emerald Dream versions of said mounts, bunch of back pieces, and many other things. For me, the real winners here are the Cat Raptor mounts. Yeah, absolutely will be chasing after them. Overall then, I'm feeling pretty good. Actually going into the Emerald Dream has felt so much nicer than being around Zaralek Cavern. Like seriously, it is way better. In terms of patch like size and scope, this very much is another slice of WoW. It is a modern major content patch in the same way that 10.1 was. That being said, it is packed with some really nice class changes, lots of really good content. The new zone isn't a miss like Zaralek was, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm actually pretty happy about things, and it certainly is heartening to know that patch 10.2.5 is already on Blizzard servers, ready to be deployed to the public test realm. I would imagine very shortly after BlizzCon, which means that even if this is not the biggest patch in the universe, well, we do know that there will be some follow-up, and we'll actually see what it is pretty damn soon. Overall then, pretty good stuff. Of course, stay tuned on the channel because BlizzCon is coming. A big thanks to today's sponsor for helping keep the lights on and all of that. Check them out below. And with that said, I'll see you next time.